right, here we go. I am Matt. You are
Jocelyn.
Nailed it. Awesome. All right, we're off to a good start. This is Ungovernable. Ungovernable. I'm getting all of the streams set up here, so I'm just trying to make sure that we're going out on all of the channels right now. Make sure to throw us a like and a subscribe and the comments. We always take comments, questions. This is meant to be live, interactive. We want to chat with people that are watching. And even if you don't watch live, you can always comment down below and we'll get back to you after the recording's over. So we are going out on a number of different channels: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, the traditional ones. We're also out there on Vim TV and Odyssey. So if the feed gets cut on any of one of those channels, you can definitely switch over to the other. So do you want to do the wine first or what we're talking about first tonight?
I'll do what we're talking about.
What we're talking about. Okay,
Then
so
wine.
we are talking about Wim Hof cold plunges.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And then we're also going to do kind of like a little wrap up or review of the New Jersey Medical Freedom Fest that happened Saturday.
Which was awesome.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. So, all right. Just let me make sure that everything is tagged properly. Do you want to let everyone know about what we are drinking this evening?
We are drinking Josh Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh, that's like fancy
It
schmancy.
is.
I can
It's so
put
good,
it up
though.
there. All right. Fairly easy to get. We're not that bougie. We're not drinking like, Chateau
It's under $20.
Montelena or something. But yeah, it is very affordable and something that you can get your hands on. So highly recommend it. It's kind of one of our go-tos. Oh, Jesus, you're making a mess already. But yeah, so we are talking about a little bit of self-care and then a little bit of activism, which is fantastic. So we're mixing it up.
Yes.
All right. You were the one who came up with the idea of this kooky plan.
On cold plunge?
Yeah. All right. How did you find out about them?
I love Russell Brand.
Okay.
I watch all the videos, and he's just become such an awesome person to watch. And he had a 30-day challenge. And at first I was like, oh, it's 30 days getting in a cold shower. And we do it first thing in the morning. We don't have to, I don't think. But 30, I take the hottest showers possible. Not anymore. So I was watching it. I wasn't really into it at first. And then I just kept watching the video, and the story of Wim Hof and how he came to it is pretty fascinating.
Yeah. And actually what I'm going to do is, if I can make the tech work correctly, I'm going to share his webpage. It's a method, the Wim Hof method. And so Wim Hof has a crazy, interesting, tragic backstory that kind of led him to this. Lost his wife, I believe the suicide, right? And went into a crazy depression. And he just needed something to snap him out of it. And so I'm not sure exactly how he came to the practice of jumping in a cold bath in the morning. It seems a little nuts to think about it, but yeah, he definitely is at the forefront, or at least he's the figurehead for this kind of like cold plunging. And so how many days have we been doing it?
We're on our 4th week.
Yeah, we're closing in on 30 days pretty quickly here.
But the reason, like I said, I wasn't 100% into it when I first read it, but watched the video. But then in the middle of it, he said, I guess because of the whole suicide of his wife, Russell Brand talks about grief and how when people die, there's like things that light up, and your heart lights up, your stomach lights up, and there's these new feelings in your body, and that doing something like this can kind of get you into that and moving into and through and into those new places that are opened up.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that, I was like, hey, because he also says do it with a partner of some kind.
you were like, we're going through some shit. We might as well jump in a cold shower. You can do it in a shower or a bathtub.
Yeah, Russell Brand does it in a bath.
Yeah.
But it's just like it takes so long to fill our bath. I don't think I would be able to sit there and watch the water go, and then that would be harder.
That would be torturous.
Yeah. So I think the shower is the best for us.
So we haven't tried the full bath cold plunge yet, but Russell Brand basically said it's actually more difficult to do the shower.
Yeah.
Because it's like intermittent almost. Like you have to keep moving in order to keep the cold equally distributed.
I agree. Because you have to turn from your front to your back.
Well, so what the first day?
Yeah.
All right, take yourself back to that first day.
I was excited.
What was
I didn't
it like?
know what to expect.
What was it like?
Wait, you went in first.
I was the first one.
No, we went in together. Which made it harder.
That's true, yeah.
Because the stream of water.
We're lucky we have two streams in the shower.
Yes.
But
I think we were both, I don't know, maybe like tiptoeing around. There was a lot of loudness.
Yeah, there was some yelling, and I can remember the very first time we went in the water. You're supposed to do this breathing with it, right? So there's this kind of rhythmic like breathing that's supposed to go with it, and you count 30, so that's like one set almost.
And you're supposed to let your mind kind of follow your breath in.
Yeah.
And we were just saying today that if the breathing wasn't there, it would be so much harder.
Yes.
The breathing, like you have to do it together.
Yeah.
And another tip is to put your hair up. Don't get your hair wet.
Yeah.
That's it.
I made that mistake the first day. I was like head in, and now I'm thinking of George Costanza. Like you never park head in, right? No, but in all honesty, like the first day, the first couple of breaths was like I couldn't breathe in. I was like it was just a shock, right? Now that's not a problem. I mean, the first couple of breaths, like what's coming. What about
we were slower getting in the first day.
Yes. Yeah, there was a little bit of a
we were like you me you
yeah
you, me.
So I would have to say the toughest part now, after we're kind of like familiar with it, is definitely if you walk in and you're getting the cold water to your front, it's knowing that you have to turn
around,
and
the back is always the worst.
Yeah, you usually let out some audible sound.
That's how I heal myself. Yes, there is some voice.
So now that we're almost the first 30 days in, and we started with one set of 30 breaths. And
by 3 days, I think, or 4 days, we did 2 sets of 30 breaths.
Yes. Yeah.
With the holding it out and the holding it in
at the very end of each one. Yes. Yeah. So you do the like 30 times, and then at the end you blow it all out.
Hold it out
hold it as long as you can, and then suck it in for as long as you can, and then you just hold it
for 15 seconds.
Yep. And then you let it go. And then if you're going to do a second set, like if you're going to do one set, that's the end. And then you get to run away and, do whatever. But we're doing 2 sets now.
2 sets. I think we're up to 4 to 5 minutes.
It
takes a while.
Yeah. It's 4 to 5 minutes.
Brush my teeth and get dressed while you're in there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I'd have to say that now, by probably the beginning of the second set, most days, I feel like I could stay in there for an hour.
Then there's those random, really cool days out of nowhere that we cannot figure out why the water feels so cold on that day.
So
we can't figure it out.
It is, it is something that is, I don't know, psychological or if it actually has to do with the temperature of the water. But you're using groundwater to take your shower. And so if it was a cold night the night before, I think more often than not, it feels a little bit colder when you go in. It must be a couple of degrees different.
It is. It can't be that much.
Yeah.
Just that extra little bit.
Yeah. That little difference kind of like makes a big difference, I guess, because of what you're used to.
But we are going to just continue doing it.
Yes.
I did not anticipate that.
Yeah.
I didn't anticipate wanting it. I didn't anticipate liking it. I look forward to it.
Well,
I look forward to how I feel afterwards. Maybe that's the way to put it.
So let's talk about benefits. So,
okay. Can I just say?
Go ahead.
Matt.
I'm on
before this. Well, would get, I mean, so long to get up.
Oh,
I
I'm a
mean,
zombie.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, would not even get up 11, 12, maybe
Oh,
sometimes.
And even if I
And
was
then
up
at 2
early,
o'clock, you're still tired.
even if I was up early after being a night owl, I would still be just completely comatose. Like 2 cups of coffee, still not in my brain.
And
like
you were
just,
staying up till like all hours of the night
Yes,
too. Like,
yeah.
so your sleep, and you were saying that your sleep was awful.
yes,
But then here I am with 3 kids, and I'm up at 7 or 6:30 with Piper.
Yep.
And I was getting a little angry
Yeah.
because you'd be sleeping in bed. I'd be
So
like,
is
get
this-
up.
is this my penance? Is that what it is?
No, I didn't do it for that reason. But I did think you were getting depressed.
Yeah.
I thought you were getting in a dark space.
So I definitely felt like, and we've had this conversation before, I felt like after we went through what we did with your folks, I felt like there was a time period where I felt like I had to be there for you. And so I tried to hold it together. And so I tried to kind of like suppress that stuff. And then I think it just caught up with me because there was a time period right at the beginning where you're trying to like clean stuff up and organize, or like we were going through estate bullshit, and we'll do an episode on that too, because you won't even believe some of the stuff we've been through. But so there was definitely a time where I felt like I had to kind of compartmentalize that and get things done, right? And then I never dealt with it. Like I didn't let it out. There was no, I didn't have anything to really kind of like vent that energy or anything like that. And you know, I'm not traditionally in my past as like a spiritual person as you are, so I was never into like meditation or breathing exercises or anything like that. So the way I was coping was essentially staying up to all hours of the night, sometimes being productive, a lot of the times not being productive, and just being in my head a lot and almost kind of like being separated from myself.
I mean, it goes back to the video of Russell Brand where he talks about what grief does. And, you know, you lived with my parents for 13 years, you know, in the same house. That's significant.
Yeah.
And, you know, my parents were so cool.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's significant. And I just think you were getting in a really dark place.
Yeah.
And I wanted to help. I started with making you work some stuff around the house.
Yeah. Which I wanted to do. I just needed like a kick in the ass, basically.
Make it our home.
But yeah, so that part of me is kind of gone.
Oh, it's so crazy.
It's so gone. Like,
oh
it's
my God.
night and day.
All I have to do is be like, it's time for the shower. I will get up. I can't sleep past 6:30 or 7.
Yeah.
And I will say quietly to you, are you ready to go in the shower? And you'd be like, okay. And 5 minutes, you're upstairs. And by the time you get out of the shower, you're like, all right, let's go. What's going on? Like it is a totally different you.
Yeah.
100%.
And
I love it.
I'm not going to lie. It's kind of like a cold finger in the butt. Like nothing wakes you up.
It totally wakes you
more
up.
than a cold finger right in the rear end. It is. And I got to be honest, like normally we have like a cup of coffee afterward.
Yeah.
I don't even need it.
I don't need it either. I just like it.
Yeah. I mean, like, but it used to be that I needed that just to be even kind of close to in my mind. Now I wouldn't even need it if, you know, I missed it for a day. Like I wouldn't even notice.
You were so clear after that shower, and you're still like, and you're kind of like slugging yourself up.
Yeah.
But then once you're out of the shower, you're like, you're ready to take on the day, and you've started doing things by like 8 o'clock in the morning. We've been getting shit done.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot to do yet, but like just the fact that you're up is a huge.
Yeah. So now that's kind of like, it's noticeable, but that's like a surface level benefit or change, right? Let's kind of like go a little bit deeper, a little deeper dive. Wim Hof has done things with this method that was focused towards fighting bacteria and infection in the family, immune boost, weight loss, inflammation reduction. Have you experienced any of that stuff? Is there something that is like, you know,
I feel like we both have not even tried to lose weight, but I feel not that we've lost a ton of weight, but having done absolutely nothing.
My appetite is nothing compared to what it used to be.
Yeah. Same here. And I ate once today.
It's also, I guess we could debate whether or not it's because of like, you know, just our general emotional state as far as whether or not that's improved. And that's why the appetite has changed, or if it's legitimately, the cold water or whatever. But quite frankly, I really don't care, right? Like, it's whatever, chicken, egg, right?
works.
Whatever works. And so I've definitely felt like my appetite is suppressed. Like, I'm not nearly as hungry, and I don't feel like in the morning, if I don't tell myself to eat, I'll actually forget to eat.
I don't feel bloated.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm pushing on my skin. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't feel like I'm bloated.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I feel like my skin has gotten a little bit like younger.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I would echo that, and I also kind of notice it, like, both in you and me. Just things feel tighter, I guess is the word. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was like, there's less jiggle in certain places that I used to have jiggle. But yeah, and again, this is something where it could be just the shower itself, or it could be some component of all of those kind of like
Good
dominoes that fall.
Just beginning your day at sunrise. You used to say you were a night person and
Yeah.
you weren't a morning person, and I no longer believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one of the really interesting, I think, effects that I've had
Mhm.
is I feel like time has slowed.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like, every parent says how fast the time is going.
Right.
Dude, I think April took like 3 months.
Yeah.
And that, and it's not, and it's good. It's not like, come on. It's like,
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah.
It feels really good. I feel sat back into time a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because I'm awake and vital kind of earlier in the day.
Yeah.
But I wake, me. How do I wake up? I wake up.
I mean, you're up.
I'm up when I'm up. I don't even need the shower like that.
Yeah.
But it feels so fresh.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. So there's a bunch more we can talk about. I'm going to say to the people that are watching the stream, I want to hear your opinions. Do you think we're crazy?
You should do it. You should do it.
Would you try it? Have you tried it?
On the other side, we have yet to find a friend.
Yeah.
We'll do it with us.
Yeah.
And we're like, we'll be your buddy.
Yeah.
We've told everyone we'll be their buddy on it.
Yes. Yeah.
And we've met, our chiropractor is like, oh yeah, Wim Hof. And we're like, well, next time we come, we can find out how your 30-day challenge is. He's like, I mean, like, everybody.
Yeah. Chris responding saying, good, y'all did do the drugs. Yeah, no, I'm high on life, Chris. I'm high on cold showers. But yeah, we definitely want to hear your opinion. So, all right. So, beyond some of those kind of like immediate things, let's also talk about. Go ahead.
Wasn't it the chiropractor who knows Wim Hof's work?
Yeah.
That had said that he had actually injected 10 people with E. coli.
Yes.
Oh no, he injected 20 people with E. coli.
Yeah.
Like, injected E. coli into their systems.
Yeah.
And then he only gave 10 of them
Yeah.
the cold plunges and the breathing.
Yes.
And
informed consent, by the way. They knew that they were a part of this and that kind of thing.
Yeah. But I mean, I think he said it was a good study.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how good that is, but the 10 people who had the cold plunges had mild symptoms and got over it very quickly.
Yeah.
But apparently the 10 people that got the E. coli, it was a pretty bad strain.
Yeah.
That didn't do the cold plunges. So there actually is some benefit to getting rid of, or, I don't know if it's immune boosting or just fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, we should really honestly look into it a little bit more.
Well, something like the more we dig into things like this, it definitely seems like there are these out of the box, like wacky ideas that when you subject your body to, and this is the main reason why a lot of people are averse to this, is because
it's psychological.
It's very psychological. And, like, most people are like, why would I subject myself voluntarily to misery? Right? Like, why would I do something that makes me miserable? Right?
How proud of you are you of yourself are you every morning?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, no.
You're so proud of yourself that you did it. And it's just like a 4-minute shower.
So psychologically, after you're done with it, you're like, all right, no matter how crappy my day is, at least it's not a 5-minute cold shower.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's so easy.
So it like sets things in perspective, but also from the biological standpoint, the more we look into certain things, like there's all kinds of stuff like extreme fasting, different types of diets, different types of exercise routines, certain types of spirituality, meditation that seem to, like, what they do is they put your body into a situation that you normally aren't into. And a lot of that mirrors like a survival, a biological survival response where your body feels like compelled to react
to
and
throw that immune boosting kind of goodness out
yes,
there.
yeah. And if that's true, that means we're a bunch of fat, happy, lazy assholes that just aren't challenged
this
in
is
our
my
lives. I
thing.
mean, like, that's basically what it seems like to me.
When I think about it, I'm like, all of our friends, we've told everyone about our cold plunges.
Yeah.
It's like TMI, but whenever what I said to you the other day was like, it's amazing that people won't take a 4-minute cold shower, but some people will inject themselves with a completely experimental drug or vaccine, whatever. It's actually just an injection.
They'll take freaking Klonopin and mood altering shit all the time. Yeah,
they're right. And it's like, but yet they think that the cold shower, which I'm sure, I mean, they didn't have heated water for humans their entire species, so people were jumping into cold ass lakes and shit.
We have to do this survey. Maybe I'll put it out on Twitter afterward. Would you rather, do a cold plunge every morning for like 5 minutes, if it like cured whatever disease or ailment that you're fighting, or would you rather take a pill that made you bleed out your ass? Because right now, a lot of side effects from pills make you bleed out your ass, and people take them.
And they do.
Yes.
But doctors aren't saying anything about cold plunges.
No, they aren't.
The government's not saying anything about it. Russell Brand is.
Yeah, and I think Chris has nailed it. Chris said the elites are tricking you because they want all the heat for themselves. It could be a green energy plot. This could be part of the new Green Deal. I'm not saying it's not. I don't know where Russell Brand's allegiances lie. We're not close. And Chris concurs. Drugs every time. He's going to take the drugs. He wants to bleed out his asshole. He won't take a cold shower. All right.
They don't give you the confidence nor the vitality.
Well, actually, what's interesting, this is like way sidebar, but you've heard the stories about ADHD drugs, right? So the ADHD drugs,
crushing them up.
No. Oh. The effect that they have has nothing to do with how alert that they actually make you or like responsive that they make you. You just feel more confident. That's it. They change your confidence. They don't change your alertness. So they've done tons of studies on this stuff. And it's like people are just as dumb on ADHD drugs as they are off of them. Yeah. They just feel better about it. They think they're smarter.
They're better.
Yeah.
I just the other day we were in the toy store before Easter, and we're walking around the toy store, and we're like, "Why is everything a sensory toy?" We were like, right? Why is everything like something to squish or touch or fidget with?
Pop the button, yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, first of all, ADHD. I believe there are people that have truly ADHD, and I think they're very much rare.
Yeah.
I've worked with some kids. I've worked with a lot of kids in my life as a therapist. And I would say I've met 2 truly ADHD kids, and there's no questioning it. But like, maybe this is another topic for another day, but like,
we'll definitely talk about mood altering drugs. This will play into a lot of our conversation.
I mean, just the fact that, we diagnose so many people with, maybe they just all need a cold plunge. I think we should make Cole do a cold plunge. I think it'd be good for him. We can't make him do anything.
Our 11-year-old,
we'll just say he can't do it, then he'll jump in.
Now we've said it on a podcast, and now Dyfus is going to show up in our front door. And let's be honest, you can't sell $1 billion of drugs to 12 people, right?
Yeah.
So ADHD or ADD, as soon as it became a clinically diagnosed thing, I think you can actually track the definitions of ADD have become much broader.
ADD and ADHD are different.
Well, yes, but both of them obviously have a multiple pharmaceutical remedies that are offered to them. They're all very expensive,
and then they can give them fidget toys to just sit there and play with.
Yeah, yeah. And it's less evident that the kids are being messed with because it's not like they're sitting there drooling at their desk from some like, tranquilizer.
I'm confident.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can do this.
They feel better about themselves. Yeah.
Oh, I don't. It's so hard.
Are you sleeping better?
I am.
Yeah.
But what's weird is I'm waking up at like the 7 hour of sleep mark, no matter what time I go to sleep. And I have been sleeping better. You?
Yeah. No, pretty much every night, my head hits the pillow and I'm out.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, you're not used to being up at 7 in the morning.
That is true. I might have just reset my clock. I don't know. I feel more motivated to get stuff done during the day too.
Yeah.
So, like I still get in my head a little bit because that's just who I am. But like during the day, I definitely feel motivated to go. I think it's that confidence thing. It's like, all right, I accomplished that. Check. Right. And that's a big check. Right.
It's a huge thing.
Do you fear going to sleep because you
I
when
did.
you wake up?
I don't anymore. For the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I don't want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Because the first thing, it's the
Mhm.
first thing we do. Now I've started to get up earlier than you and
Yeah.
make the coffee because I want coffee afterwards. Not that I need it, but I just like it.
Yeah.
So I'll go down and like clean out the dishwasher and make the coffee. So I have that buffer these days. I kind of changed that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I for 2 weeks I was like, shit.
Yeah.
I have to get up and take a cold shower. But it's really, it is all psychological.
Yeah.
It is all psychological. And
100%.
then, sometimes I just force myself in
Mm.
and sometimes I'm like, just feeling the water,
Yeah.
And so we've had a few really cold, I don't know what's going to happen in the winter.
Yeah.
But I'm loving it. And I hope we continue.
Yeah.
I want to continue.
No, I'm pretty sure we're going to go with it because it's, well, I mean, like the reason why it's a 30-day challenge is because it takes 30 days to set a habit.
Set the habit.
Right.
And Russell Brand is continuing it too. He felt the same way.
Well, he just did a live, or he has a live coming up, I think, with Wim Hof.
Oh, with Wim Hof.
Yeah.
And such an amazing story. You really should check out his website. It's an amazing story. And it's a comeback story.
Yeah.
And then to watch him in remember he was saying he brought our chiropractor was saying he brought the athletes into the cold weather that was like below zero. Do you remember he said that? And they stayed in for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so he's done some crazy shit, this man.
Yeah.
And you know what? Oh, you know what you were also saying?
What's that?
You're like, you're feeling a little more masculine.
Yeah.
Right?
It's definitely a
Wim
feeling
Hof
like
has that. He's like, right?
It's definitely a feeling of when you walk into a room, you have one up on most people in there. You're like, you know what? They might have a nicer suit or whatever. They drive a nicer car or whatever. But your ass didn't stand in fucking cold water for 5 minutes this morning. But I did that shit. Who's got two thumbs? This guy. Right? No, it definitely helps. It definitely helps. So I think it's definitely a value. I think people should at least try it just to see if it has similar
definitely
benefits.
If you're a woman and you have long hair, put that up.
Yeah, put it up.
Because it's not worth that cold on your back.
Yeah.
And get some water on your face because I feel like that's what I've been doing lately for like wrinkles. And I'm like, get that cold over there.
So not to get too into the like details of it, but you've even gotten to the point of like you kind of take a shower, like a shower.
I do
when you do it now.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to that point yet. So
I don't put but soap doesn't wash off easily.
Yeah, I know with cold water, it's not great.
But it takes my mind off of it when I'm not like breathing.
Yes.
But the breathing, like if you do it, you have to do it with the breathing because the breathing gets you through it.
Mm-hmm.
And start with like 130 round. By 3 days, we were like, I think I started it. You're probably like, oh shit, she's doing too.
Yeah. Well, what was funny was like, you were like, I'm going to do the second one. And I'm like, I can't bitch out. Like, I got to do the second one too. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was definitely going through my mind. So, and anyone who's unfamiliar, pro athletes, football players, UFC fighters, a lot of pro athletes, after they go through a really intense workout, they get into an ice bath.
Yeah.
So, and that's the anti-inflammatory thing for their joints and stuff like that. Oh, and by the way,
your joints felt better, right?
When I wake up in the morning, if I'm like achy in my back or my legs, I mean, like when she put me to work and whipped me to do work around the house, the aches and pains in the morning when you get up and you're like, oh, like you're and you feel like that, as soon as you're done with the shower, they're like gone. Yeah. And I don't know if they're gone because you're focused now on the fact that you were in a cold shower versus what was going on, but it doesn't come back.
I don't have the aches to get rid of. Though,
yeah, no,
so I
but
don't know,
after
but
like
you've said that a few times.
the day after I was like moving rock and stuff like that on the property, the next day my back was like
Yeah.
howling, and after I was done with the shower, I didn't feel it for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And I probably should have like stretched too afterward and stuff like that. And we'll talk about that too, because you're a big yoga person.
Mm.
I'm not.
No.
We can tell the funny Valentine's couples hot yoga story. But I definitely should stretch more and that kind of thing afterward. But so yeah, no, it really kind of helps. Or like if you have, you know, sometimes my hands are tight.
Sometimes
in the
my
morning.
hands get tight.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a lot of work,
Really
writing.
helps. Really helps.
So would you say would you say if you tried it just the first day, if you were doubtful that you could easily make it to the second, third day? I think if you get to like 3 or 4 days, it's pretty easy.
Well, Russell Brand said day 10,
Day 10.
he started seeing the positive effects of it.
We felt that earlier.
I disagree. Like our experience was different. I think day 3, day 4, we started to feel some of those positive effects.
So you just have to drag your ass up there, to the cold shower for 2 or 3 days, maybe 4. But like the thing is, after the first day, you feel what it does to your brain,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that alone, especially I know so many people who cannot get up in the morning, and probably not as bad as you, but you are something else. But there are so many people who say they're tired and groggy in the morning.
Yeah,
so many people.
Yeah,
and this combats that.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that I think it has applications beyond that, because I really think that a lot of people are dealing with health issues that they might be able to.
Everyone's dealing with inflammation. Didn't you
counterbalance that with it?
Yeah. The inflammation is all over the place.
Oh, anti-inflammatory diets and all kinds of other stuff too. So, So any last words on that before we move on to NJ Medical Freedom Fest?
I love it. I'm thankful to Russell Brand for showing it to me.
Yep.
And I'm thankful. You know what? I want to read more about Wim Hof now.
Yes, his like backstory. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And he just seems like an interesting dude.
And that was the other thing, to do it with a partner or like a buddy system.
Yep.
Even if it's not in person, call a friend.
Yeah.
Phone a friend. But other than that, I think, do you have anything to add?
No, I would say try it.
Try it.
Like what's the worst thing that happens? You get 3 days in and you're like, all right, this isn't for me or whatever. You missed literally 5 minutes a day for 3 days, right?
Literally no one we've told has tried.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like whatever, but it is worth. I mean, I feel a difference. I've seen a massive change in you.
By the way, I've talked to a bunch of people who know of it.
Yeah.
1 or 2 people have tried it actually in the past and they didn't keep it going. I didn't get their take on why they didn't keep it going. I don't know if it just wasn't
Ian Smith, not as a bridge, but Ian Smith.
Yeah.
At the medical,
perfect.
It could be a bridge. Knew about him.
Yeah.
Right, because I was talking to Ian Smith about it.
No, I mean he's dude's freaking built like a brick shit house. I mean, he does a lot of lifting. So yeah, no.
Did he say he does it?
No, I think he said he did it in the past. He doesn't do it now. So I wonder what he does. I bet he does cryotherapy. I mean, it's essentially a poor man's cryotherapy.
Awesome. Yeah.
If you got the wallet for it, you can go get blasted with liquid nitrogen.
You just
or
stand
whatever.
in a box.
Yeah.
Your head out.
Yes. Yeah.
My dad did it. He's like, he loved it.
Now I'm kind of interested to see what
there's
the
a
difference
cryo
is.
place down the street.
We should go as like a test to go do that and see how it compares to like just a cold shower in the morning.
It's definitely a lot more money.
It's definitely, well, I mean, yeah, obviously, but just one-time thing.
Just to go check it out.
All right, like, was it comparable or what? And then when people are coming in, we could be like, you could just take a cold shower in the morning. You don't have to pay $200. I'm sure they'd love that one. All right. So we're going to talk about NJ Medical Freedom Fest.
It was awesome.
It was this past Saturday,
so good.
April 30th. It was in Hightstown, New Jersey at the Elks Lodge. It was put on by, New Jersey Human Action, which is the nonprofit that's based here in New Jersey for activism for basically freedom, basic freedoms. The Mises Caucus from the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
The Libertarian Party had a table there. It was also co-sponsored by CanaSense, which is a medical cannabis organization that's based out of Central Jersey. They do amazing work. Neil Schloss was actually one of the people up on the stage for the panel at the end. Awesome dude. And I want to make sure I hit like the top line people first. I'm forgetting if I'm missing anyone. But there were a number of organizations that helped get the word out, help publicize it, get some of their members there. We had, let me pull up the actual picture for it if I can do this. So while I'm pulling up the kind of like the headliners here,
you had Bill Spadia
on the flyer
pushing it on the 1015.
Yep, Bill Spadia.
Black Guns Matter.
Maj was there.
What did he put it out on his?
No, he put it out on Twitter. He was retweeting us and putting
Ian
stuff
Smith
out there.
Did a bunch of
Ian Smith helped us out, did some promo video stuff for it. Why am I not seeing it? I'm just going to pull up the website. So it was an all-day affair
in a beautiful venue.
Awesome venue.
Really good.
And we actually looked at the venue and were like, holy crap, we could put so many more people in this venue and do kind of like, Woodstock-esque like music festival kind of thing, because there was a gigantic field the kids were playing in all day long. Let me pull
and it was kind of like you weren't worried about the kids because it was like
it's still like
it had a boundary-ish kind of feel to it.
Yes,
but it was, I mean, I think our littlest was like, I don't know how far down on the field.
Piper was the mayor of New Jersey Medical Freedom Fest, I'm pretty sure.
Well, you said she's the anarchist. She totally ran into the camera.
Yeah.
While they were filming.
That is true. She's like, it's in my way. I'll just
the whole thing wobbled.
So sorry. If you watch the video of it, we had a professional videographer. But when the camera wobbles, if it's still in the edit, that was our kid. So this is the flyer for the event. Ian Smith, Robbie Bernstein, King of the Caucus. He's a Mises caucus guy. He's on Part of the Problem. Did stand up. He was freaking hilarious. Did you catch Robbie's stand up?
I was in the middle of chatting with Amy.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
they had just come in.
So the one joke that I heard that was really funny that Robbie told was, it was great to see the weaponized autism of libertarians getting together with the meatheads.
Oh, you told me that.
The Republican meatheads in New Jersey, which was absolutely fantastic. It was an awesome joke. And it just goes to show you how comedy can be an awesome thing that, like, it might sound like he was making fun of the two groups, but he was actually patting everyone on the back for getting together and kind of like joining to do this event. Bill Spadia, who we mentioned, in Maj, James Babb, who was like our MC for the entire event.
He was really good. Job. I loved his comments on the side during the panel.
Awesome job.
What was his comment on
we'll get to it. Hold on. Michael Heiss, who is basically the godfather of the Mises Caucus on the libertarian side. Audrey Nanowski, who the organization is Don't Tread on Philly, right? Started Don't Tread on Philly as a result of the COVID regime. Absolutely amazing. She was amazing.
I wish they would have had her like do an actual speaking outside of the panel. I would have liked to hear the story.
We had so many people speaking and so much going on. It was tough because we had to pack it all in.
Right?
And it was also important that how did you feel the networking was? Do you think the people were accessible? Did you get to meet with them and talk with them and stuff like that?
Yeah, if I didn't have a kid pulling me away.
Yeah, right.
I did. I got to speak to everyone I wanted to speak to.
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet everyone, and I had people I hadn't met because they're your community.
Yep.
But I think it's important.
Well, now it's your community too. So. So a little bit of background before we kind of talk more about the event. You haven't really been active with me in the libertarian stuff, right? Like I invited you on like a party meeting, which was basically like stabbing yourself in the eyeballs with needles because it was all party business and bylaws and crap. Okay. Yeah. Yes or no, and then when someone disagreed with something, autistic screeching, and then more voting. But so you hadn't really been involved in any of this stuff. And truthfully, the party itself, some of this stuff was going on, but it was going on in very kind of like small pockets and areas. This was something that was on a whole other scale from what had been done any time in the past. probably 10 or 20 years with the party.
Yeah.
And so it's revitalized a lot of the people in the party. But also what was fantastic was loved ones like you were able to come. I think Rip brought his wife. She didn't really get too involved or anything like that. In fact, I think he made the comment, sorry if I'm putting you on blast, Rip, but he made the comment that like he was worried that his wife, thought he was like just leaving to go like pal around with people and like hang out.
Yeah.
And all of the loved ones that came along got to see that, no, this is legit. We're doing stuff and actually trying to make change in the state. And on top of that, it's also fun and engaging and a little bit of a party atmosphere.
And it's nice for the kids to meet other kids of families who believe in freedom. And
Yes.
I mean, I won't say that I'm libertarian. I don't even know what I am, honestly. I fight for medical freedom.
Yeah.
And I homeschool, and I don't fit in any category, but maybe I don't know.
Yep.
But I have to tell you, if you had brought me to Michael Heiss,
Yes.
I thought he was fantastic speaking. And
So
if
good.
I would heard him, I would have just immediately, I think, gone with that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what are you doing?
That's a good picture. No, right?
I feel like I'm like, sure. I don't know what that look is.
No,
it's
no,
very
no.
strange
Hold on.
look.
No, hold on.
I'm like, are you serious?
It's such a good picture. It's such a good picture. All right, I'll pull it down quick. It was a little picture. All right, so I'm gonna parse through the pictures. I have a ridiculous number of pictures. I'm actually putting together a highlight reel right now that is like 10% done. So I have more work to do on it, but I'm definitely gonna put together basically a movie that highlights a lot of the pictures, some of the speakers, and some movies from the events, as well as some of the social media stuff that went out along with it to kind of put everything together in a nice little package. So if you weren't there, or if you wanted to share it with someone, you could share that and they would get a sense of what was going on. But so I'm going through the pictures. Who do you think? So like you like Heiss, okay?
I never met.
What other
Michael
speakers
Heiss.
did you like?
I didn't meet him because at the end of the panel, my kids were like, "Can we go?"
Yeah.
But I got to meet Ian Smith,
Yep.
who I thought was awesome to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Totally, it was great to meet him because I didn't really have a sense of him, but he had told me some things. I don't know who he is. I'm not a real gym person, right? So I'm like, who's this gym guy?
Yeah.
But I loved talking to him. So personable.
Yep.
And Maj Touré, I was so excited to meet him.
Yeah.
Loved him. I loved him.
So I know I had kind of like spoken about Maj a little bit in the past. You had seen a little bit of his stuff, right?
Yeah, I had seen a bunch of videos of his.
So,
but I hadn't seen your podcast with him. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I probably should have.
Actually, that was an absolutely awesome episode because it was one of the episodes where I got two people that were kind of from different parts of the freedom world.
Yeah. I
had the guys from 3Speak, who this video will be up on 3Speak on the Hive blockchain afterward when I upload it. But I had the guys from 3Speak, decentralized Web 3.0, crypto-backed social media platform, YouTube competitor, and Maj on the same episode. And one of the funniest moments of the entire episode was Maj finding out what they were about, like them kind of like teaching him. And because if you remember at the time, the whole like switch over to Parler was happening.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so Maj moved over to Parler because Maj kind of like has a foot in the Black conservative space as well as in the libertarian space. He's kind of that bridge between those two groups. And so he was familiar with, Parler and some of the other non-decentralized alternatives that were out there. But the 3Speak guys like blew his mind. And when he found out about it, he was like, where are you guys like holed up or whatever? And they were remoting in from Mexico because they find the cartels safer to deal with than the US government. And Maj was like, I hope you guys have some like security detail or whatever, because you guys are trying to take down this like behemoth, social media controlled organization, government controlled organization. So it was an absolutely awesome episode.
I have to watch it. You have to send it to me.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I don't even know if Maj totally remembered because it was like over a year ago. I mean, we're talking about probably near the beginning of the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you what though, he speaks my language.
Why do I not have I do not have the pictures with you and Maj?
Oh,
hold on.
Take it on my phone?
Did I? No, I have a couple of them with you. Hold on, I just gotta look for them. But so I got you and Spadia.
Oh yeah, and I wanted to meet Bill Spadia.
You were
but
you
he
were
was
a big
fast
Stadia
out.
person.
He was fast out.
Yeah.
He was on a mission.
So Bill had to run because he had another event he had to run to. Bill's obviously on the campaign trail. Interestingly enough, immediately after this event, and during the publicity for the event, some of the malcontents within the Libertarian Party got very irritated that we had two Republicans that were on the stage.
And Republicans who are running, or
like running for office at the same time. And so that is a big sticking point for me, because and I want to talk about this for a little bit, because this is extremely important. Like, these issues go further than your political label, right?
Yeah.
They go further than where you live, your economic, socioeconomic status, with a very small exception for people that are wealthy and can kind of like exit it or live in a different world.
You're talking about the medical freedom issues?
Yes, medical freedom. And so when it comes to these issues, I mean, I'll go on record and say, I don't care what your political label is. I don't care what your gender, your skin color is, what you identify as, as far as your gender, or your sexual preference. I really don't care if you're a freaking Martian. If you are in favor of the purest idea of bodily autonomy and pure medical freedom,
yes,
I will fight shoulder and shoulder with you, regardless of whether you're running for office currently.
It's kind of like the homeschooling world, where you may be not religious and that you're fighting alongside evangelical people.
Yes. Yeah.
And you may not believe in creationism, or you may not believe, but you fight for their right to do for their kids what they want to do.
Yes.
And you may not believe it. You may even judge it on some level, but you fight alongside them. And that's how the community is built. And that's why it's so strong in New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, so I was having this conversation with my New Jersey crew of anarchist rabble rousers. And the one thing that I said was the far right and the far left, they have these like purity tests. And so they have like an inner group that like basically controls everything. And then they have this large mob of what I would call useful idiots, because they basically are just propagandized. They just repeat whatever the propaganda is that comes from that core group. Okay. The key to remember is that your enemy isn't the people that are propagandized. You're kind of fighting that battle, but who you're really fighting against is that core group.
You want to turn all the people.
You do.
Those are the people that you.
But so here's the beauty of.
You're never going to turn the people on the edges.
This is like, to get biblical, okay? And I'm not a biblical person.
I
used to. This is like the David versus Goliath thing, right?
Yeah.
You think that Goliath is a giant that can't be beat, but everyone has weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
This is their weakness. Their weakness is they have these purity tests that keep this core group of people that are powerful on their side very close. And the purity tests are so restrictive that you've seen it a lot on the left, right? Cancel culture is big on the left, right? Like, you say the wrong word, you do the wrong thing, you're ostracized, right?
Right.
Well, same thing happens on the right, believe it or not, right? Like, if you're not American enough, if you don't consider yourself whatever, if you're a MAGA person, or if you're this, or if you're that, right? They have purity tests too. The beauty is, on any one of these issues, if you can build coalitions across not just parties, but across
beliefs,
all cross sections, you can easily outnumber and overpower that small group that is in power.
I believe that.
And so,
but it's so funny that medical freedom is such a marginalized freedom. I don't know how it happens. I don't understand.
How is this a controversial? Like, I still don't understand how someone arguing for bodily autonomy can do it in one venue and then argue that the state owns your body in another venue. I don't understand.
I'm going to date myself now, but I was at the first March for Women's Lives. I don't know how old I was. I was like 13 or 12 or 11.
Yeah.
I was there. I carried a thing, my body, my choice, right? I don't understand where all these women do not understand that this is still their body, their choice.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
It's totally... That fight hasn't changed, or let me rephrase, the battlefield has changed a little bit, right?
Totally homeschool for freedom. Sorry.
Yeah. And by the way, Chris, this is the ultimate compliment. sorry, like I owe you a drink or chocolates or something. He sounds like Tom Woods if you're not looking at the screen. That's freaking amazing, dude. Like I wish I could like give you a hug right now. Tom Woods is amazing. I haven't introduced you to Tom Woods yet.
No.
Tom Woods is
I
absolutely
was
fantastic.
blown away
Okay.
with meeting everyone.
No, I have shown
already.
you. I have shown you politically incorrect history with Michael Malice and Tom Woods, though. You remember
think
those, the
so.
cartoony ones? Tom Woods is the not Michael Malice.
To be honest,
show it to
there's
you
too
again.
many
All
things
right.
in my head.
There's work to do, people. So anyway, what the hell was I talking about?
My body, my choice.
Oh, yes,
medical
yeah.
freedom. Why is it so marginalized?
So
I don't know.
the fight has changed frontiers. What's effed up is that the people that were on the one side of the argument have been propagandized to now be on fighting on the other side of the argument, and it's like
fear.
It's completely it's fear-based
and laziness. I hate to say it, but it's not doing your homework.
Not doing your homework. Public education, or should I call it public
We were just saying today that we're very scared for when we're older.
Yeah.
By all the people that are coming through the public education system.
Yeah.
Homeschool for freedom. Right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It is really unnerving that people can't connect those dots.
You know what it is though? It goes further than medical freedom goes further than the outside influences, the fringes.
Mm-hmm.
People are supposed to be able to trust their doctors.
Yeah.
And the doctors are, I mean, there are doctors that are standing up. Absolutely. Chiropractors are standing up.
Yes.
Doctors are, but the large majority of doctors are not. And they're not giving the information. Half of them don't know what are in the vaccine, inserts. I mean, it's really insane.
Yeah.
And so if you cannot trust the doctor who you've been with for your entire life, take care of your whole family, like they just put this blind trust. Also, I teach creative writing, and I had a prompt today. Is it better to live one day as a lion or 1,000 days as a lamb?
Oh,
that was my
love that.
That was my question today. Yeah. I had a great response from a kid. I loved it. I was like, they're homeschooled. Homeschooled.
Give me a day of prowling and killing, and
that's what this
running.
is about, though, right? Like 1 day as a lion or 1,000 days as a lamb.
Yeah. That's absolutely fantastic. So I'm gonna try and take two things and mash them together, because this is very much in line with talking about that, like my body, my choice thing, and how that's kind of like been tipped on its head, right? People very much, a lot of people, not the people that are mostly at the forefront of the freedom movement, right? When you hear Maj talk, Maj doesn't need a crew. Like Maj will freaking stand down a mob by himself if he has to, right? He wants to build a community, but at the same time, if he feels like he's the only one who's principled and everyone else isn't, dude, he would be that, like, it'd be him versus a wall of zombies. Like it would be him, right? So Maj lives it, right? But so a lot of people prefer or fear that. They fear that lifestyle because they feel it. They fear that it's, from my standpoint, they fear that it's solitary.
You think
not that it's dangerous, not that it's dangerous, that it's solitary.
Like no one,
because
there with them.
Think of the typical viewpoint of like who is like the freedom person, right? The freedom person, a lot of people think it's like someone who's in the backwoods, who's freaking killing deer and like living in a cabin and all this other stuff, right? They don't view the freedom person.
I think of world schoolers.
Well, that is also, but that in and of itself is also, to someone who lives on the outside of it, it seems solitary. Like to the world school, it's not. It's the complete opposite. But again, that's ignorance to the lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
But so this is the same point that I was making to someone else about
we crave community.
Well, yes,
we crave to be heard in a
there are people who are followers. They're just followers.
And
right?
It is true though. If you stand up, you lose friends on Facebook.
But you also gain them somewhere else.
But yeah,
right?
You do. But you do lose.
And you might lose 5. Sorry, you might lose 5, but gain 1.
Listen,
right? But that 1 is a much better friend.
I mean, I lost family pretty much.
Yeah.
Like just because they didn't,
Yeah.
Hang tight.
That was
Yeah, you can't speak. You like, you can't say your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think it's a generational thing too?
No, I don't think so. I think in every single generation, there might be a little bit of a different mix. There's still a large number of followers, right? Like, why are there managers and supervisors and then people who are workers? Some of the workers choose to be workers. And some of the people are, well, some of the workers should be managers and supervisors and they don't get elevated, right?
Right.
But a lot of them are workers because they're workers.
Yeah.
They don't want the responsibility, which is fine. They can have that role. But so a lot of people kind of just want to be part of the group, right? The problem is, and this is very much analogous to, I had a conversation the day of New Jersey Medical Freedom, that they were going to like talk to Ian and be like, hey, why don't you run as a libertarian? And I was like, whoa, hold on. I said,
Yeah.
listen to what they're saying. The reason why he's definitely a libertarian. Ian's definitely a libertarian.
Well, him and Bill Spadia both are kind of speak about it as kind of like, what did Bill Spadia say?
Bill Spadia said he's a small L libertarian.
Small, yeah.
Bill, if you want to come on the show, I will argue that in some ways you are not, okay? But in some ways, like medical freedom, you're very much so a small libertarian. But so from that standpoint, someone was like, all right, we're going to pitch Ian. He's going to come be a libertarian. I was like, whoa, hold on. Listen to what they're saying. Ian and Bill are basically saying that they still believe that the Republican machine
can do the
is
work.
what they need to co-op or reform in order to be able to go up against this.
That it can't. Well, that's the question.
Okay?
Can it be reformed?
So, well, I don't think so. I think the establishment is too entrenched and they will blow it all up before they allow someone else to be in power.
I mean,
I totally believe that.
Democrats and Republicans, it's run by money.
It's all run by money. It's run by money, power, and influence.
I think of the whole Jack Ciattarelli thing in New Jersey.
Oh yeah, and
I think Rizzo should have totally been.
Bill Spadia pointed that out in his speech at the event.
That was great.
But the point is that the reason why Ian wouldn't come to our side is because he doesn't see that as a comparable option.
Yeah.
It hasn't been built to the point where he would move over, because Ian isn't someone who is just philosophical. Yeah. He is philosophical and he also wants to win, right? And so I think that's very much so the case with people that get wrapped up in this, like, the leftist stuff.
Yeah.
They want to win. They want to be the people that are in the majority because they always get their way, but it's not really their way. It's, the way that's basically being spoon-fed.
Well, I suppose if the more people in Ian Smith's position who have experienced the crap of New Jersey government in many ways, the more people that get into positions, the more power they have to kind of maybe change or alter. I don't know. It's a question. It's just, I guess that's meant for whatever happens.
This is one of those things where it's like, you have to walk before you run, right?
Yeah.
And in order to walk before you run, you have to build that base of support and be consistent about it.
Take it somewhere one day.
That's when people get attracted to it, right?
Yeah.
So that's why also the Mises Caucus has been successful within the Libertarian Party, because that's essentially what they did. They built this base of energized people that like each other, but also people that are.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm going to say something bad. Can I just say anything here?
Dude, free fucking speech. Say whatever you want.
I mean, if New Jersey had run someone like Michael Heiss as your Libertarian Party nominee as governor, I would have voted for that shit.
Yeah.
I could not vote for Mealy.
So
I couldn't.
Greg is on a personal level. Greg's a nice guy. You've met him, right? Greg's a nice guy. Okay.
I mean, yeah, to you.
Greg has the desire to do good things, right? But he's also been a part of the Libertarian Party for a while that wasn't represented. Like it wasn't Ron Paul's Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
And so and you're seeing like some states are further ahead than others. Okay. New Jersey is behind because New Jersey had just basically, like, for one of the most populous states in the country, had one of the smallest libertarian parties.
Well, people always just take it as a blue state and walk away. I think that's like the attitude.
Yes, and
but I think Rizzo's support said something. I mean, he's a Republican, but I think the support that garnered for him in the homeschool community, in the medical freedom community,
Yeah.
like they were ready for something different.
Yeah.
But I think if you had someone like Michael Heiss speak, oh my God, he would have absolutely turned people.
So Heiss actually, Heiss is an amazing activist. So this is to still
I should
to
have
stay
met
on the
him.
point. To stay on the point. You'll get another opportunity. Mike, he
Yeah.
lives in Philly, so he'll be to New Jersey events again. He's definitely coming to New Jersey Freedom Fest. We're gonna get him there in September. But so the Heiss is an activist that walked the walk before he said, okay, everyone, we need to go do this, right? He wasn't someone who like read a book and then went, this is a good idea. All of us should do this.
Well, you
right?
can feel it in the power of his voice. When someone speaks authentically and they are excited and energized by something, you want to follow.
So,
and he had that behind his voice. And then there was, Greg Mealy, and you're like,
Greg.
I don't want to be mean.
No,
because it's important to be a figurehead for a party.
Yeah.
But I mean, the difference between the two of them.
Yeah.
And when I think of he started the Mises Caucus, and you're talking about how the Mises Caucus is beginning to kind of build in New Jersey. And I mean, that power behind Michael Heiss. And every time he spoke, my ear is like, oh, that's him again. And then I loved everything he said.
It's because he is unapologetically authentic.
Yeah.
And he's also unapologetically willing to say the things that people don't want to hear, but they need to, right? Like that is a very Ron Paulian characteristic, right? I've shown you that video of Ron Paul on Morton Downey Jr., right?
Yeah, you did show
talking about drug legalization.
Yeah.
And the entire crowd, even the blue hairs of the time, which aren't the blue hairs of today, they were the blue hairs of the past, were yelling and shouting him down about drug legalization. And the dude is like, and like we just started talking about the Remnant on Saturday, right? Ron Paul was not on that show to speak to the 100 people that were in the audience that were shouting him down.
Just to pick up
the two people in the corner that were like quiet, but they were like, wow, someone's saying something that I've been thinking.
Man, if you could get like the energy of Maj Toure, the truth and the authenticity to come from him.
Yeah.
Michael Heiss is like, he just had the correct words with the correct something behind him.
Yeah.
I would 100% like put my money into the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
If we had that young voice, that energetic voice, that like, I mean, it's all, I feel like I believe I'm in libertarian kind of world, but I can't look at someone like Greg Mealy and say I can vote
been there. It's been there, but it's been suppressed. By the way, I don't know if I showed you to everyone that was kind of like at the event because there were so many people there, but Joe Baratelli, who was kind of like running around and was really instrumental in getting things done. Mike Pannone, the guy who was the sound guy and oversaw the stage and everything like that. There were a couple other people there, even Dan O'Neill, who you kind of met like in passing maybe, who was really instrumental as kind of like the leader of organizing this. All of them had become disenfranchised with the party. And so all of those people that are those kind of like activist, really kind of like loud, charismatic people,
I'm for that.
They were turned off to the party. They have now become re-energized. So like what New Jersey Libertarian Party looked like 2 years ago,
totally different.
It will be in 12 months. It already is. I mean, like this event itself, I was just looking at the initial ticket returns and I don't have a final number on it, but the initial ticket returns looked like we had about 120 to 130 people there.
Now, the only sad thing is I wish more people would want to go to something like that. Like I had said to you earlier, I wish there was one up more in Northern Jersey. I feel like there's lots of activists in the medical freedom world. I am fully connected to like all the medical freedom activism and stuff, but it's a long way to go. Now, I mean, you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to go and do these things. I mean, we go to Trenton when we have to go to Trenton, but I think it would, I can't wait for you to have one up more in Northern Jersey. There's, a really good like core here.
Well, so you have the inside track, what I'm planning. September, we're going to have an Oktoberfest style. We're going to have an Oktoberfest style event, and it's going to be all freedom. It's not just going to be medical freedom. We're going to get a ton of people there. I got to show this picture here.
I loved Maj Toure.
You're like a Maj,
and he told me that I could go and learn like Sunday.
Yeah.
To shoot, like, and I was like,
Yeah.
You are in Philly.
Yeah.
And I live in Morristown.
Yeah.
And I already drove an hour and 15 minutes to get here. And it was so I'm hoping maybe we'll be able to put some like homeschool mama and their kids, like bring him up and do something, because I really love him.
We need Maj. If this gets to you, I'll reach out to you personally if this doesn't get to you. I don't think Maj watches, but he's too busy. But we're gonna reach out to Maj. We're gonna get
Some
bunch
kind
of homeschool moms
awesomeness and the kids of all ages,
learning
of
firearm
all
safety.
ages.
Yes.
And learning it and learning conflict resolution. And
yes,
man, and I just love, oh my God. Do you remember when he was speaking about and someone had come up and they said, I'm a public school person, and what are you going to do for me? Right.
Yeah.
And they basically he used his own tactic.
First thing, James Babb immediately afterward goes, no one's coming to save you.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic
It was awesome.
line.
It was great.
And now that being said, I believe that was one of the women from Stand Up New Jersey,
which is important.
Okay,
absolutely.
Which I think is very important. Like, I don't think James Babb was trying to speak down to her.
No, I don't think anyone spoke down, but also they were put on the spot. What are you going to do for me?
Yeah,
like these are people. Some of them aren't even from New Jersey. Like, what are you expecting someone to say? And I get that. Like, everybody needs help. You need to find your communities. You need to find your voices. But like we were saying with Ian Smith, right? We were talking to him on the side. Am I allowed to say that stuff? What we were talking about when he went into the school board meeting?
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. That's part of the public record.
Yeah, and they were talking about a girl. I don't even know the basics of the story, but there was some kind of like maybe sexual assault.
Yeah.
And he went in to speak up for her. And the minute he came in and started talking, he said, you have to stand up for this girl. They just closed the meeting. They just shut it down.
Yeah.
And so how can you work with that? You just, it's mind-boggling what's happening in the public schools. And I thank God homeschool.
Yeah.
My kids.
Yeah. Which so this is a point of not contention, but I definitely think it kind of like causes a little bit of conflict, is the people that are adamantly in favor of homeschooling as the main option for dealing with this, right? And then the parents that say, well,
we can't do it.
We can't do it. Like we just can't manage it. Right?
We are on the line of everyone can do it somehow.
Yes.
But back to Maj Toure.
Yeah. So how did Maj kind of like talk about it?
Well, first he talked about how he translates, right?
Yeah.
He talked about how he translates
empathy first, right?
Empathy first,
yep.
And then coming to the facts slowly. So he did this. He actually did it so after. I don't know if he said the whole translation thing before or after that, but I noticed it when he must have said it before.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm watching it in action with this lady, right? Yeah. Like he empathized with her, and then all of a sudden he was like, and then you realize that it's an 8-hour babysitter.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
You just said that shit. And I was like, yes.
It is an important question.
But I empathize with all
Dan Francisco says this all the time, by the way. I'm running for, I believe, a county committee seat, or what used to be freeholder. I don't even know what the fuck they call them now. But he's running for a spot at the county in Monmouth County. He's currently a councilman in Englishtown, Republican, but he's our kind of Republican. He's libertarian, / anarchist Republican,
now homeschooling, right?
And I've had this conversation with him a lot, and he's had this conversation in our kind of like smaller social circle. And that dynamic of public schooling is something that I think is
entrenched.
It's entrenched. It's entrenched, and parents don't identify that that's the main value that they derive from public schooling. And this is not to say anything bad about the parents.
We're not saying things about the parents, because I love parents.
But truthfully, if your kid could get the same education in 1 hour that they get in 8 hours at public school, would you choose for them to do it in 1 hour and be home all the time? And I think a lot of people would be like, whoa, hold on, I got to work a job,
right?
And I got to do all this
gotta make
other
money.
stuff.
I can't do this. I can't do that.
And so,
but what people don't realize
Mhm.
is the amount of support, especially in New Jersey,
Oh yeah,
for homeschoolers and the way they get together.
dude.
People don't even know, and you don't know until you enter the community. But then there's people like me who's been homeschooling for 13 years,
Yeah.
or whatever, 12. I don't know how you only, since I have kids, and I'm like, stop bringing your kids into the homeschool community to be friends with my kids, and then go
then
back to
leave in
public
2
school.
years. Yeah.
Fuck you,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
stop. Like,
Yeah.
it's not fair to my kids.
Yeah.
They came out for COVID.
Yeah.
And then they're going back, and then they, their kids are disappearing. So I enjoy more in our community. Bring it in. We have open arms, but people are at this point are a little bit like shy. They're gun shy.
So this is also another point here. If you're looking for the most battle-hardened activists as far as freedom goes, you don't find them in red states, right? You mostly find them in blue states, right? Right? Homeschool moms in New Jersey
come out and they are like
badass bitches. Okay.
Yes.
Second Amendment, like true Second Amendment, not FUDs, true Second Amendment people in New Jersey
Are, like,
are
serious.
badass motherfuckers. Okay.
Yeah.
The people that are like activists in other states that are like, we got constitutional carry over here in the gulag of New Jersey, we're like, fuck you. Like, we still got to freaking give DNA in order to get stuff, right? Like that, like, and so that's the thing. Like, and that's the other point is if any of these issues, if it's homeschooling, if it's Second Amendment, if it's free speech, if it's medical freedom, if it's whatever, like fill in the blank. If you feel like you can't do it, if you feel like you can't adopt an alternative,
Ask for help.
Ask someone who's doing it in the actual state, and they will be like, all right.
You have to go to your state.
They'll be like, this is
everything
hard work.
different for each state, especially with
Yes.
homeschooling.
And they'll be like, this is hard work, but I'll lay it out for you. This is what you have to
Mhm.
do. And this is what I have to do. And this is what you have to do. I think a lot of people are afraid to find out what they have to actually do in order to make that transition, right?
You know what? I think a lot of parents look forward to time away from their kids.
Oh, wow.
And and that's okay. It's okay because
please take our kids for an hour, like 1 hour.
Like I decided for our co-op, I'm like, all the moms just want to hang out and not do anything. And that's fine because in my mind, I'm like, that is the 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
That someone else is taking care of your kids for the entire week.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes. Yeah.
I get it. I understand. And it's a hard, but if you, and honestly, if we hadn't been homeschooling from the beginning, we could have fallen into the laziness of that. Right.
Yeah.
And you fall into it. It's easy, but we didn't even ever start.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't leave my babies.
Yeah. Well, what's also crazy is so like, hopefully you're comfortable with me dissecting a little bit like the dynamics of a relationship in a public venue. But when we first that's fine. That'll have a little bit more. When we first got together, would you ever thought that we would be like vegan gun-toting hippies that homeschooled and believed in medical freedom and
no
I always hated the government and like
I always told you this. I always said I never asked you about vaccines. So I come from parents who never vaccinated a lick out of me, wouldn't even let me get the TB test. And my water broke on the my mom's water broke on the chiropractor's table.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like all kinds of
crazy holistic health
against none of the families like that.
Yeah. And
so I didn't even think to ask when I started dating someone, do you vaccinate your kid? Like to me, of course you don't.
Yeah.
Like I've never had a vaccine in me ever. And when I got pregnant, I learned I have the German measles antibodies.
Well, you were exposed to it.
Apparently at one point.
Yeah. Never broke out.
No. Had chickenpox naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know I never even thought to ask. I never thought I would homeschool. But then we had Veronica and Cole, and I just didn't want to leave. Did you ever think you'd still at this age be sleeping with a little kid in your bed?
Oh, like co-sleeping. This is a whole other episode that we can talk about co-sleeping. But let me just let me just preface it by this, without talking about the entire episode's worth. I mean, like there are all kinds of these cultural, I'll call them stigmas or even wives' tales and things like that that we've grown to like embrace as a culture. And I say we, and I got Rufo in the back of my head saying there is no we, like Lysander Spooner. But as a culture, Americans on the average are, they're against a lot of things. And they're against a lot of things just because. Not because they like looked into it, not because they researched it. It's just, well, that's just the way we do things, right? We're Americans. That's just the way we do things, right? That's how it is here. That's immigrant shit, or that's like European stuff, or like, and so all of those things were I think what's interesting is that we didn't know what we had with each other when we first got together. And it's not like we could have
just kind of
filled out a survey and like compared and contrasted and be like, oh yeah, we meld or whatever. Like you and I would never have matched.
Do you know how many friends
like, I mean, I would have thought you were cute on Tinder. Like I would have. Oh,
you didn't have like the long hair and the guitar and like you're in a band, which was like
I'm not your prototypical. And now here I am with a beard and fucking hippie hair.
You have to get it a little longer, put it back in a ponytail.
Maybe. It's getting there.
That's the next.
Now I have to figure out something for you to do, because now I feel like I'm just being manipulated.
Transcendental meditation, another thing we have to talk about.
But yeah, like there are so many of these like culturally taboo things that are just taboo, not for good reasons, but they're just taboo because, we just don't do that.
I will say this. I think the best things we have done for our family is allowed older generations to be a massive part of their life. And this is something that is missing in the American culture. And the fact that you can grow up kids in the same house as their grandparents.
Yeah.
I mean, not only for the grandparents' health. I mean, my parents were young for 74, wouldn't you say?
Yes, very.
I mean, my Piper kept them young, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Cole might have made them older. But the idea that generationally living in a house, it brings so much to a family.
Yeah.
I'm sad that we don't have that anymore. And
why am I thinking that Chrome froze up now? This is like,
oh, I don't know.
This is annoying. Hold on.
Are you still going on some level?
I'm hoping so.
Oh.
We're definitely still talking. It might be choppy, so I'm gonna have to clean it up and post.
Are you on the right? Oh, there we are.
Yeah, no, we're here. It froze up for a little bit.
The idea of that generational home is something that I think is so important. And I don't know what happened here.
No, we're good. Okay. It's all right.
I think it's so important in so many levels.
Yeah.
And we're lucky to have the kid's great grandmother alive still.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Guy.
I was
just the stories and the people and, the ancestry that heads back. And, it's amazing that we ended up having the same idea on. I just had to give you Dr. Sears' book on vaccines.
Yeah.
And then thank God you were open. I have a lot of friends who.
So this is a really good point.
We're going back to medical freedom, right?
Yeah.
We're way off topic.
So this is a really good point. It takes the right message at the right time to get through to someone.
Yeah.
Right. And some people have learned to try and figure that out, like to work out that puzzle. Mostly salespeople, but some people have tried to figure that out, right? Like, how do you get the person at the right time to hear the right message in depth?
Before we had a baby,
we didn't talk in depth. Yeah, it was quick. It was quick.
It was good.
Yeah,
I was old,
but
you were young.
No, you were older. You weren't old then. I'm old now.
That means I'm older.
Oh my God, this is another episode. I don't get men's infatuation with young women.
Older women are so awesome.
Older women are way better than younger women.
Yeah, they're the sexy.
Well,
Don't you think?
they're sexy because
They're
they
like
don't.
they're like
they don't-
wisdomy sexy.
Because they're not stupid.
They don't give a shit anymore. That's what it
They've
is.
seen some
They just don't give a shit.
yeah.
They're like, you start to love yourself in your 40s. Something happens when you hit 40 and you just fucking start to love yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens.
Yeah.
You just don't give a shit. I don't